Hello, my friends. I hope you're doing well today, and welcome to r/PettyRevenge, where my two favorite things in life come together: a good laugh and a good revenge on people who deserve it. There's some great stories in this one, so you might want to buckle up for the ride because things are about to get petty. I hope you guys stay for the stories today, have a good laugh, and do hit that subscribe button for future stories. This one's titled, Be a condescending, dickish vegan trying to order carryout. Enjoy a decidedly non-vegan meal when you get home. I never really believed in the stereotype of the condescending, holier-than-thou vegan. I figured it was an invention of the omnivores that like to make fun of vegans and project some kind of judgmental attitude on them. And then I met her. She came into this really solid Asian fusion restaurant that does carryout. She was talking to her friend, and the gist of the conversation was she was appalled that she was even in the restaurant, as the food didn't even count as vegan since they also served meat. In fact, for the 10 minutes that I knew her, she basically had nothing nice to say about anyone or anything. It was pretty spectacular. Listening to one person manage to say nothing nice for about 10 minutes. She could win gold in the Ass Olympics. I'd been standing in line, patiently waiting to place an order, with one person in front of me. As she walked in, the person finished ordering, at which point she breezed by me like I didn't exist, and she said, "I'd like a tofu lo mein." The woman behind the counter looked at me, and I coughed politely and said, "I'm sorry, I was here first." This elicited the biggest, most "how dare you waste my time" eye roll I've ever seen, and she wordlessly stepped back with an ugh. I ordered my chicken fried rice. Then she ordered her tofu lo mein, and we stepped back to wait for the food. 10 minutes later, the first order popped up, at which point, this woman, mindlessly chatting with her friend about how much someone they both knew is a total bitch and waste of a life, swiped the order without even thinking and without a thank you, and stormed for the door. I'm pretty sure she was in a desperate hurry to ruin other people's evenings elsewhere. My first thought was, isn't it likely that my order finished before yours? And I almost said it. And then I realized she was storming out with the meal that she really didn't want. The next meal popped up about 2 minutes later. I grabbed it, knowing there was a solid chance it was tofu. I thanked the nice woman behind the counter and left without stopping to open it, afraid that if I wasted a second's time, that angry shrew might have stormed back and corrected her oversight. I triumphantly ate a tofu lo mein back at home that night. Well, I ate the lo mein and then picked around the tofu. I don't know if that harpy returned demanding her correct meal, or if she just got home, realized it was chicken fried rice, and threw it away dejectedly. I just hope that she felt some level of the misery that she seemed to enjoy forcing on everyone around her. The sad thing about this post is that Karen at one point probably opened the box and realized that the employee at the restaurant gave her the wrong food, and she probably went back to raise hell on that poor employee in the restaurant, cause she's a Karen. This next story is titled, Never Piss Off the Photographer. I'm not a professional photographer, but friends and family ask me to take photos for them all the time. I love portrait photography, and I'm happy to do the favor, but sometimes people are really awful and annoying. And then it really grates that I'm spending my evening and weekend shooting and then processing photos for free. A few years ago, I had a really bad client. A colleague asked me to do a family shoot on Mother's Day. I knew I'd have the morning to play with before I go see my own mom, so I accepted. It was going to be at a winery in the country, and my colleague offered to pay for me to join them for brunch. Bonus, we carpooled. And it wasn't until we got there that I realized that it wasn't just gonna be me and my colleague, her husband, and her kids. It was my colleague's husband's entire family, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, parents, and even both grandmas. 27 people. I'm immediately panicking about how long it's gonna take to do this shoot, and I mentioned to my colleague and her husband that I have to leave in 3 hours to get back for my family's Mother's Day. Her husband says it'll be fine. I don't really have a choice as we carpooled, so I try to relax and have some fun. Brunch goes on forever, and then we're finished and we only have an hour for photos. I figure that I should be fine, if cutting it close, and I ask for the husband's help in keeping his family organized and moving. I plan out the normal shots with them, everyone together, family groups, kids, and then the husband starts asking for couple photos as well, then sibling photos. I text my family and I tell them I'll be a little late, but hoping it won't be too bad because the husband will keep people moving. An hour and a half later, and everyone's having a bad time. The kids are crying, it's taking forever to get any shots at all. And why? Because the husband is yelling at people, hurling commands and orders, barking and foaming at the mouth. It's incredibly awful. The winery people come over a few times and ask us to keep it down. The husband yells at them too, and I'm praying that they kick us out. I try telling the husband that I have to leave and that we can try for photos another time. The family tries to leave, and we're stopped. He says no, we must endure. When he tells his son that he's gonna knock the snot out of him if he doesn't stop crying, something snaps in me. I stop trying to cheer people up, get fun photos, happy smiles, and I just take the photos we need so we can all go home. When I eventually get home, I do what I can with these miserable photos. I combine different frames to get group shots where everyone looks happy. Where that doesn't work, I touch up facial expressions so people look less upset. I steal bits of candid shots from earlier in the day. These are impossible masterpieces when I'm through with them. I spend hours and hours making sure these pictures are gonna hang in living rooms forever. Then I go through every single photo, featuring the dad, absolutely every one, and just enough to be slightly noticeable, and just enough to look weird and awkward. I enlarge his head in every photo. This is why you don't do things for free. People end up taking advantage of the situation, and in the end, it upsets both sides. I'd really love to see the pictures of these slightly enlarged heads though. It sounds hilarious. This one's titled, Calling Her Fake Quitting Bluff. This happened years ago, and it still makes me smile. I started working in a corporate office in a secretarial position for my first job after college. There were two older ladies who were also secretaries working in the office. One of them was just fine, but I spent most of my time sitting beside and working with Agnes. Agnes was quickly approaching retirement age, but wasn't going anywhere without a big push. This was in the days where we just started getting computers, and she was absolutely hopeless. She'd pull stuff like, I can't answer the phone, I'm on the computer. And multitasking was not in this woman's repertoire. She was super fussy and annoying. If I ever came back from lunch 5 minutes late, she would loudly exclaim, "Oh my god, there you are. I was wondering what happened to you," making sure the whole office knew that I was late. Meanwhile, she was usually late coming in the morning, and often left early for various appointments. If I made a typo in a document, she would be sure the rest of the staff knew about it. Loudly. She tended to pout when things didn't go her way, and she would quit, quote unquote, her job when someone pissed her off, and then the boss's boss would talk her into staying. I'd heard about the tactic of hers one day. Our boss did something that annoyed her, and she, quote unquote, quit again. My boss's boss was away that day, so I had my chance. I quickly advertised and planned a big retirement party for her. It was a done deal by the end of the day. People were dropping by and congratulating her, and everyone looked forward to the party. At that point, I guess she figured it was too late to pull her usual shenanigans, and she actually retired. This one's titled, It's for Security of the Building. As a DoorDash driver, you'll run into many different types of people. Today, as I was making a delivery to a local hotel, I see a man smoking right outside of a side door, holding his room key card. I approach him and ask if he would be so kind to let me through the door. He refused, telling me that they locked the door for the security of the building. You'll have to go through the front to talk with the front desk staff. I told him that I was a DoorDash driver and was there to deliver some food, and he was like, nope, gotta go through the front. After going around and finishing the delivery, I see the same man trying to open the door with his key to no avail. He sees me on the other side and knocks and waves, to obviously let him in. I politely wave back and turn the corner. I exit through a door maybe 50 feet down the hallway, and he catches me on my way to the car and says, "Why didn't you let me in? I waved at you." In my smuggest face and most sarcastic voice, I told him, sorry, they locked those doors for the security of the building. I'm afraid you'll have to speak with the front desk. I proceeded to leave after receiving a few choice words from the fine gentleman. It does pose as a security risk with random people that aren't staying in hotels to be in hotels. With that said, very well played, PettyRevenge OP. This story's titled, Making a Trip to the Bathroom Sexual, featuring Karen. I was about 18 or 19 at the time, and babysat our neighbor's 3-year-old boy. He loved animals, and it was the middle of spring, and it was nice and warm, so I decided to ask his mother if it would be fine to take him to a petting zoo in the city. Everybody was excited, me included, so we went. We had a ton of fun, and he got a large amount of animal feed so he can enjoy himself. Nothing was weird up until this point. Nobody was staring, and I felt it was pretty obvious that I wasn't in fact his mother, but rather just babysitting him. Now came the time the little guy needed to pee. Not a problem, I thought to myself. So I took him to the toilets. There was a large line in front of the woman's bathroom, but since I had to accompany him because he was too young to use the adult toilets himself, we couldn't just go into the men's bathroom, which was empty. I figured waiting in line for a minute or two was not going to be an issue. And then enter Karen. Karen says, "Hi, excuse me," tapping me on the shoulder. I replied, "Yes." I thought since she had a little girl with her that she might have wanted to skip ahead in line, but she said, "Is this your child?" I replied, "Oh no, this is my neighbor's child. I'm just babysitting today." "Why are you taking him into the bathroom then?" At this point, she got very aggressive straight away. I replied, "Excuse me? He needs to use the restroom and is clearly too young to do so by himself. So obviously, I'm accompanying him. What am I supposed to do? Just let him pee his pants?" Karen then said to me, "This is highly inappropriate. Only his parent should accompany him to the restroom. He's a boy, and on top of that, he's not even your child. God knows what you might do in there with him." Okay, so now I'm getting kind of pissed. At that point in my life, I dealt with a lot of crap from people since I was a nurse, and people in the hospital tend to be entitled as hell when they don't get their way. I was absolutely capable of defending myself with words, and I'd already lost my temper with her being so rude. So I said, very loudly, "You think that I would look at his penis in there? Ew! What the hell? Why do you have to make a bathroom trip with a small child so inappropriate like this? Do you think about that when you take your little girl to the bathroom? Oh my god, you're disgusting. That's disgusting." Now, I said all of these things kind of very sarcastically, as it was just meant to scare her off. But obviously, I said it loud enough for a lot of people to hear, and to give her glares. Now everybody's looking at her disgusted, and whispered, or even chimed in with me to tell her that thinking stuff like that was disgusting, and that she should leave me alone. Karen looked mortified at this point, and just backed away and left. I guess that's one way to diffuse that situation. Just make it equally as awkward for the person who's making it awkward for you. Silly Karen. And that's it for this episode of r/PettyRevenge. Guys, if you enjoyed it and aren't subscribed, do hit that subscribe button for future videos, as I upload every day for your pleasure. And I do mean that in the most inappropriate way, by the way, because I'm freaking disgusting. See you guys in the next one.